Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever. Let's make some freezer meals, shall we? It's busy here in the kitchen. After we moved, I couldn't figure out angles in this kitchen, so I think like half of these cut off, but we're just gonna make do. Is kind of the theme of today. I do have a list that I'm opening up here of freezer meal ideas that I wanted to do, but I honestly don't know how much we're gonna get through. It'll be a surprise for both of us, huh? I wanted to do no bean chili, beef and broccoli, meatloaf, cranberry chicken, meatball soup, enchilada casserole, and pizza casserole. I was very ambitious when I wrote this list. I don't know where I thought all this extra time was going to come from. But I want to get started for sure with the no bean chili, the meatloaf, and the beef and broccoli, because that stuff is in my fridge and I need to get it prepped and in the freezer. And then if we have time, we'll move on to some of the chicken meals, maybe. Or maybe we'll just stop there. But let's get going. I think the easiest one to start with, okay, I asked my assistant who's doing her math next to me, we're going to start with the ground turkey meals. I'm going to get an apron on and we'll get going with meatloaf and no bean chili. Okay, we got a mess in the kitchen. We were just not prepared. I didn't get anything prepped for the freezer meals. But like I said, we're just gonna jump in. So the first thing I think we're gonna make is the no bean chili. I bought 3-pound chubs of ground turkey, and that's what we're gonna make it out of. I'm gonna try to make 2 batches at one time. And I already had to sub some ingredients because I thought I had sweet potato in the freezer, but I couldn't find it. So if it's in there, it's probably buried. And that's why you should keep up your freezer inventories, y'all. But I did find some grated zucchini. So this is just zucchini that I have purchased and then I shredded and froze. So I'm gonna put that in there just to stretch it and make it a little bit more, and then also to add some veggies in. And then we have a bag open of pepper and onions, so I'm gonna put that in as well. Chopped onion, I didn't use fresh because I'm just kind of trying to hurry along here. So the dry chopped onion from Costco is what we're using. This is dehydrated green powders. I will like buy super greens, or if we have like leftover spinach, I will put it on the dehydrator and then make powder out of it. And then I don't have a chili seasoning, but I did find a homemade fajita seasoning. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of that in the flavor. I think the flavors will go okay. I'm essentially gonna dump it all in, mix, and then put them into freezer bags. I forgot to mention a can of tomato sauce, or diced tomatoes, diced tomatoes as well. So we had this one on our shelf. This is fire roasted tomatoes. I really like those, and so does my husband, especially in the no bean chili. And if you've been around our channel, we've made this a few times on here for freezer meals, but we make no bean chili because my youngest has sensory. Beans are not on his list. So we try whatever we can, and then if we want to beef it up after, we can always set some aside for him, and we can add beans to ours. So I'm just going to, instead of putting it all in a bowl, mixing it and then separating it half and half, I'm going to just do half the ingredients in a bag and the other half in the other bag, and then the morning of it can mix up that day. Now I have done this with go ahead and throwing in the raw ground turkey in here and then just defrosting it the night before and cooking it that morning with everything already in there. And we've been fine. But you do what's comfortable for your family. If you want to cook up your ground turkey first and then put it in there, or ground beef, then do it that way. I just do it, I freeze it raw, because then that way if we have leftovers and I want to refreeze it, I can freeze it one more time. Whereas if I cooked it and then I couldn't freeze it again if we had leftovers. So I'm going to, but I think this time what I'll do is maybe put the ground turkey in a separate bag in this bag. So I'll show you that in a second, just to cook it up the day of, and then leave the rest of these ingredients as well. And I'm just using a spoon because I don't trust myself to pour it in there and not spill everywhere. I'm gonna put in some of the shredded zucchini. This is a 1/4 teaspoon. We just leave it in there for the greens because a lot gets packed in there. So I'm just gonna put 1/4 teaspoon in there, and then 2 teaspoons of the fajita seasoning. And then I just sprinkle in the chopped onion. Sorry, let me see. I don't know if you want to see the raw meat. So there is the chopped onion, and then we'll do a little of the pepper and onions as well. I'm gonna do like maybe half of the bag that I have left here. So here is this mix. Now what I could do is go ahead, like I said, if you cook the ground turkey, go ahead and toss that in too. Or if you feel comfortable doing it with freezing the raw ground turkey with your veggies, go ahead and do that. This time around though, like I said, just in case I want to cook up the ground turkey first, you would do that at this point. So let me do another bag just the same. Okay, I've got my oldest with me and he's gonna help me because I already have raw meat hands. So we're gonna do the mixed meatloaf. I went ahead and just, this one I am gonna throw all in one bowl and then mix together and separate it out. So the first thing we're gonna throw in here is some oats. I use oats instead of breadcrumbs. Since I'm doubling it up, I'm gonna do about 140 grams of oats. So, okay, we also need, so we added about 18 milliliters of, or 18 grams of salt, and then we're gonna add in some homemade Italian seasoning, but you can use whatever Italian seasoning is your favorite. And we're gonna put in about 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. And some egg whites. So we ended up doing about 280 grams. I don't know how many cups that would be. I'll have to look and see, but 280 grams. And then, I think that's it. I didn't put garlic in. Let's put some garlic in. We're gonna put in a little garlic powder instead of fresh garlic. We're just gonna sprinkle some in too.
Tell me when to stop.
Stop. That was about 6 grams. Okay, so then I'm gonna mix. Okay, so with my ground turkey, I like to flatten it because it is this chunk of, you know, ground turkey or ground beef. I should have labeled beforehand, but. So we're just gonna label meatloaf mix, and then like I said, I like to flatten it so that it will thaw out a little bit easier, because if it's in one big giant chunk, it takes a little bit longer to thaw out that way. And then also my bags are those, have this like folded bottom. I forget exactly what they call them. Anyway, so I pushed my meat up just a little bit more so it didn't get lost in the folds. And then we'll freeze them this way. But that makes 4 meals already done, ready for the freezer. I'm gonna go ahead and put the bag of ground turkey inside our bag. And we can freeze it up that way. Okay, next up we're gonna do a beef and broccoli-ish because I don't just have broccoli, I have Normandy vegetables that we're gonna use. So I have this giant bag from Costco of Normandy veggies. So it's open and that's what we're gonna use for this meal. So I'm gonna throw the veggies in first. I'm roughly following a J. Morrell Stewart recipe, but I said I'm roughly following it because hers is just straight broccoli and her measurements are slightly different. She asked for 3 12 ounces of broccoli, but I already have in about a pound, which is just 16 ounces of veggies in here, and I'm pretty sure we're getting close to my family's veg limit. So I mean, do what's comfortable for your family because I don't see that my kiddos will eat a ton more veg if I try to stick it in here. Here's 20 ounces of veggie. I think that's what we're gonna do for my family. Okay, and then a tablespoon of sesame oil. Okay, our air fryer is on. And when I went to grab our brown sugar, it's stuck in there. It's not coming out. You can see we tried to scratch it out. So I'm not even gonna fight with that. I'm gonna make some more brown sugar quickly, and I think this recipe calls for half a cup for each bag, but I'm not, because I didn't use as much veggies either. I'm just gonna do a 1/3 cup and see. I think, oh my gosh, I even think that'll be plenty sweet. Maybe we'll do a 1/4 cup. I'm gonna go down to a 1/4 cup per bag. If you haven't made brown sugar before, it's just molasses and sugar. And then if you want dark sugar, you put more molasses in. If you want light sugar, you would put, I should have used a fork for this. You use less molasses. So, and then you have your own homemade brown sugar. Okay, and then half a cup of soy sauce. We use liquid aminos, so I'm gonna finish off this bottle and then I have our next one up. Okay, and then we're gonna throw in our meat. I went ahead and purchased, I went to Costco and I got, this is just beef for stew meat. It is roughly 4.5 pounds, so a little over 2 pounds for each bag is what we'll put in. And I put the meat last because that way when I turn the bag over and pour it into my Instant Pot or my slow cooker, the meat is gonna hit that heating unit first. Whereas if you put the meat in on the bottom, the meat will be on top when you turn the bag, when you pour the bag in. Okay, and now we have 2 more meals done for the month, which is awesome. And this won't sit in the fridge and go bad. We have a little more room in the fridge too. If you know, like after a Costco run, if your fridge is like my fridge, it's nice that it's full, but it's full. So this will go, these 2 will go into the freezer too. So what are we at? We're at 6 meals. I think I'm gonna break for lunch and then maybe I'll come back on and finish up the chicken meals today, or maybe that'll be it. Okay, that's what we're gonna call it today. I didn't get the chicken meals done or the pizza casserole, but I did get my stuff cleaned up. I'm gonna put away some of the dishes that were drying, and then my oldest actually said that he would wash the dishes for me, so that's awesome because it is his turn to wash dishes, but I was fully prepared to do it because I did more dishes with the freezer meal prep, but he said he got it. I love it. I love it when our kids are willing to help. So thanks so much for hanging out with me and getting some of the freezer meals done. We did 2 for 6 meals, which is a great start. So maybe tomorrow, I'll come back in and do the chicken meals, or maybe the chicken that's in there, I'll just go ahead and dice it and freeze it. We'll see. But again, thanks so much for hanging out with me. And if you just need to be reminded, or maybe you don't know, you are deeply and truly loved and so, so appreciated. I really appreciate you taking your time out and spending it here with me. Thanks so much for watching.